Good morning. This is the Board of Appeals, Town of Hempstead, November 13th, 2024, 9:30 meeting. Will everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Mr. Chairman, do you have any opening remarks?
I may not have to. Is there anyone who has not been here before? Then we'll dispense with the opening remarks, because I think all of you are intimately familiar with how the hearings are run. All right, so let's get right into the cases. Okay.
First, we have case 65724, Franklin Square, TD Bank, N.A., North America. Renewal of grant to maintain double-faced detached ground sign not permitted. Setback 5 feet from property line on Franklin Avenue, also known as 720 Franklin Avenue.
Good morning, Board.
Morning. This is a renewal of a grant to maintain a double-faced detached ground sign.
My name is Arlene Melly. I'm with Ultimate Signs and Designs Corp.
Can you speak closer to the microphone?
My name is Arlene Melly. I'm with Ultimate Signs and Designs Corp. Located at 86 Sewell Street in Hempstead, New York, representing TD Bank on Franklin Square.
Morning.
Good
All right,
morning.
this is a renewal of a grant to maintain a double-faced detached ground sign. Building Department inspected the property on September 13th, 2024, and they found that all previously imposed conditions were being complied with. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, that's all.
Do I have any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Mealy, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you.
Have a nice
Have a
day.
good day.
Next, we have case 658 of 24 Levittown, John and Stephanie Miganelli. Renewal of grant to maintain pool with attached wood deck in front yard on Whittier Avenue and 6-foot-high PVC fence larger than pool installation area and forward of dwelling, which may substantially obstruct line of sight. Also known as 556 Mansfield Avenue. Mr. Chairman, we have an application for an appearance waiver.
Okay, this is a residential case, and there is no one here in opposition, so we will grant the appearance waiver. The building department inspected the premises on September 5th, 2024, and found that all conditions previously imposed by this board have been complied with. Do I have any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. The applicant will be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Next, we have case 659 of 24 Levittown, Jenna Ferrante. Variances, side yards aggregate, front yard average setback, maintain addition and maintain garage conversion to living space, both attached to dwelling, also known as 152 Periwinkle Road.
Tina Pangallo, 549 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead, New York, 11552. Good morning, Chairman, members of the board.
Morning.
I'm representing Jenna Ferrante of 152 Periwinkle Road in Levittown. The property is located on the south side of Periwinkle Road, 320 feet west of Peony Road in the LPRD district. We're requesting a variance to maintain a garage converted to living space, in addition that violate the side yard aggregate and the front yard aggregate, the front yard setback, sorry. The side yard aggregate is required is 15 feet, and the side yard aggregate provided is 13.32 feet. This is common in the Levittown area. The average front yard setback is 32.5 feet. The front yard setback for the garage conversion and addition is 25.65 feet. This is in line with the original house that was built with a setback of 25.67 feet. The attached garage and addition attaching the garage to the house was built in 1958. When Mrs. Ferrante filed an application to construct a second floor for the growing family, they came to realize that the garage was converted to living space without a permit. She believes it was done about 10 years ago by her father, who is no longer with us, and we're respectfully asking the board to grant this variance.
Just, I have out of curiosity, if I might ask you. So, I know, like, you attach a detached garage, side yard issues, but in this case, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Pangallo, in this case, there's a garage that was originally built with a house at this front yard setback, right? And it was converted to living space and therefore is triggering a front yard average, right? You didn't encroach any further in the front yard.
Correct.
It's the structure is what it was when it was originally built.
Yes, it was a garage with a roof over, so they enclosed that roof over
So
in
they
line
did
with the
further
house.
encroach in the front.
But it's still in line with the original house.
Right, but they did structurally, even, albeit de minimis, they did change the footprint slightly because they enclosed the hangar.
Yes.
Okay, I take my question back. Okay, good, I'm glad I asked.
Any other questions from the board? Silence. If not, do I have a motion? Vote.
It's in the back. Oh, the attachment. The addition is the back. That little part right there, I think. Oh, wait, yeah. Is that half the width thing, like some sort of vestibule-like, where it's attached?
That's all a kitchen.
But they're looking for it's not easy to see on here where the garage attaches to the house.
Okay, so it's that little section here that was approved under the addition and attached garage permit from 1973.
Is that 73873?
Correct.
Wow, what a great number.
See that? You see that? Okay. Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Pangallo, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have cases 660 of 24 through 661 of 24, Oceanside. Finney Lau, variance side yard setback, maintain split AC units attached to dwelling, maintain accessory structure shed with less than required side yard setback, also known as 283 Evans Avenue. Ms. Pangallo, we have you sworn in from earlier. If you can just please state your name and address for the record.
Tina Pangallo, 549 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead, New York, 11552. I'm representing James and Orlean Sessa, the previous owners, and Finney Lau, the new owner of the property at 283 Evans Avenue in Oceanside. The property is located on the south side of Evans Avenue, 110 feet west of Messick Avenue in Residence B. We're requesting a variance to maintain a split AC unit that violates the side yard setback and a shed that violates the side yard setback required. The side yard required for an AC unit is 5 feet, and the side yard provided is 3.8 feet. This is a split unit that was added about 3 years ago. They didn't realize they needed a permit. It's raised, and there is a 6-foot fence between this property and the neighbor's property. The shed is a 7-by-7 resin shed that is 8 feet 6 inches high with a 2-foot 3-inch rear yard setback. The only issue is the 1 foot 2 inch from the side yard, where 2 feet is required. There are bushes surrounding it. There is a 6-foot fence as well, and it has been there for approximately 15 years. As far as we know, there's been no complaints from the neighbors. $22,000 is being held in escrow, and these are the two final issues that must be closed out, and we're respectfully asking the board to grant this variance.
You understand that there is an open permit for a screened-in porch. Is that going to be closed out as well?
Yes. That's
Okay, and there's one comment from the public, which I think is one of the most interesting, so I'll read it.
Oh,
I've carefully considered the matter and have come to the groundbreaking conclusion that I have no comment. I'm sure this shocking revelation will be a major setback for the committee's investigative efforts. Who are we to stand in the way of progress?
that's a good one.
Must have taken an inordinate amount of time to draft that.
I know, sometimes they,
In light of the comments, comment form, do we have any questions from the board? If not, do we have a motion? Wait, we have a wait a second. Okay. RV38. How tall is that shed? What's the height requirement for a shed?
any other
8
questions?
feet.
Oh, Joanne has, go ahead.
Did you? I do too.
I can't read it, whether it's 8.86 or 8.74. And then the other side is 5.86. That's less than 15.
Oh, okay, you're right, you're right. But Dawn,
No, I'm not looking in air conditioning.
oh,
Yeah, we have.
What happened with the aggregate? Wasn't denied for that. No. We okay? Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Bangallo, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Just so.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have case 662 of 24, West Hempstead, Sheena Bruno Grandison, maintained fence varying in height from 3.5 feet to 6 feet forward of the dwelling, which may substantially obstruct line of sight, also known as 563 Maple Street.
Who's on this case?
Gregory Mindel, 531 Lime Rock Road, Lakeville, Connecticut, 06039. Appearing for the owner, Sheena Bruno Grandison of 563 Maple Street, West Hempstead, New York. Good morning.
Morning.
We're here this morning requesting permission to maintain a 3.5-foot to 6-foot PVC style fence forward of the existing dwelling. This dwelling is located approximately 89 plus feet back from the front yard setback. The fence along the front property line, 4-foot PVC picket fence, has a building permit number 14-8327. That is not before the board. In discussions with the plan examiner, this was legal and permitted and closed out. The fence in question is the fencing along the west side property line, which extends from that front yard fence, 4 foot high, back towards the residence, and then increases in size towards the residence for an 8-foot section, from 4 foot to 6 foot, and then 5-foot section to the front building line of the dwelling. So the 4-foot fence on that west side yard is 74.7 feet in length.
And then where,
The fencing along the east side property line,
hold on, where does it go to 5? I see the 74-foot linear mark
I have it dimensioned at 74.7 from the front property line, up that property line to an 8-foot section that goes from 4 to 6 feet, and then 6 feet for the last 5 feet that return to the building line at the front of the dwelling.
Okay, so let me just say it again. So from the front of the house, there is a 5-foot section that's 6 feet tall.
Correct.
Then, and then there is a section that's 5 feet tall that goes from,
No, 6 foot tall that goes to 4 foot.
where's the 5-foot section?
There is no 5 foot.
Oh, I thought you said.
There's a 5-foot length of 6-foot high fencing.
Okay, so hold on. The 5-foot length, 5 linear feet
Yep.
is 6 feet tall,
Correct.
is at the house and goes 5 feet forward of the house.
Correct.
Then, but I see the 4-foot fence stopping where it's marked right here, 74 linear feet.
Correct.
Or does it, well, wait, look at the line, it says maintain 4-foot high PVC fence.
Just follow the dimension lines on that
I
west
am, but
side.
there's a line going across. Is that where the 74 feet ends, or does it go all the way back to the 5 feet? If you look, if you look at the line that goes over, that goes to the note, maintain 4-foot high PVC fence. I'm not clear if that's where the 74 feet ends, or if it ends clear.
No.
Okay.
There's a dimension
I
line.
understand.
There's a dimension line to the north.
Right, it was just confusing that one part, but I understand.
That's why it's a broken
So
line
there's
that
only
goes
5 feet of fence, 5 linear feet.
Correct.
That is forward of the house, that's 6 feet high.
That is correct.
The rest of that side, on the west side, and is that solid, that PVC, or is it thick?
It's a PVC fence, solid PVC
Solid.
fence.
I know, some of
And
them,
there's,
some thickets are PVC.
then there's an estate fence that returns from that property line to the dwellings. A metal estate fence.
Okay, but then the front, along the front property line is 4-foot PVC.
That has a permit,
Right, is that a temporary grant or permanent grant?
permanent grant.
Just because we like to keep the PVC, okay. Now over to the driveway.
So to the driveway, we have 13 feet at 3.5 feet, which then increases to 4.5 feet for 8 feet length.
Hold on, 13 feet. Which is on 13 linear feet at 3.5 solid. Okay,
You can see in the photographs that that area is a solid fence.
okay, I see now.
Because the
Okay.
neighbor has a curved driveway
Understood.
in that area. They have 2 curb cuts on that abutting property line to the east.
So after the 13 linear feet, 3.5, how much is there at?
It goes 8 foot length at 4.5 foot high,
Okay.
and then goes to 6 foot high for 25.5 feet.
Is the 25 feet, 25.5 linear feet, 6 foot high, is that shown here on the?
It's on the site plan.
That's all comprised in, okay. Yeah, I see.
I've submitted photographs that you can clearly see the neighbor's driveway, the subject property driveway.
So then is there just no fence from that, where the 25.5 linear feet ends?
It's
and
not needed at that point.
There's no fence needed?
No fencing needed, no.
And then the applicant restarts on those as of right fence?
Yes, because what brings us before the board is, we filed for a swimming pool in-ground last year. Constructed a swimming pool, and any fences outside of the pool installation area are required to have a separate building permit.
Right.
And at that point, I notified him that we did have some fencing issues, except for the one along the front property line.
So there's just no fencing in that one section?
Correct. This is a very unique property with the house being set back almost 90 feet.
Yeah.
This is actually a very attractive house. This is a Better Homes and Gardens designed house.
Wow.
So when you pull the original plans, there are many homes throughout this area that are Better Homes and Gardens. So when you pull the original house plans, they're spectacular. And Mr. Grandison intends to renovate this house. He currently has an application.
Why would you renovate it if it's?
Better Homes
No,
and Gardens.
an addition on the back of the home, and he wants to improve the home. He intends on staying here. We're not here because we're selling or leaving the neighborhood. He fully intends to stay here and maintain this property.
And then,
The purpose of the fence is due to the neighbor's curved driveway. It prevents headlights from shining up towards the house, as well as the picket fence along the front actually obscures the headlights from the street that goes perpendicular into Maple Street. If you look on the radius map, you can see the street across the street faces his house.
I mean, the obvious slight issue is, I mean, it's good as 3.5 feet. Probably that portion might be looked at for a temporary grant, just so that the next person, I know your client's not selling, but at some point in the future, someone doesn't come in and say, you know, I want it 4 feet or 5 feet. Let me make it the same, and then, you know.
If you look at the photographs, you can see the neighbor has a fence across the front property line with brick pillars at that location.
Yeah, it's more just so that the driveway, anyone backing out of the driveway would see oncoming pedestrians on the
Yes.
sidewalk and vehicular traffic. Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
Hold on. I won't.
Oh, we have someone in opposition? All right, come forward, ma'am.
Consider, we'll just sit down here. It's easier, she has the table a little.
No.
You can be heard here. I know,
570.
we have enough space. It's better here because we
570.
can lay your materials on the table.
Where's
When we're crowded, we
570?
have to use the podium, but we got space.
I see where she is.
Before you speak, did one of you have a question for Mr. Mindell before we hear from? Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought there was a question. Go ahead.
Yes, hi, I'm Cheryl Frank. I live at 570 Maple Street, directly across the street from 563. I would like to understand something, please. The 4-foot fence that you talk about that's in the front now, the white PVC, what's happening with that?
It has a building permit.
I'm not asking you if it has a permit, I'm asking you what's going to happen with it. Is the 4-foot fence staying in the front, or he wants to change that 4-foot fence to 5 feet or 6 feet?
When you say in the front, the fences that are before us are in the front also. Are you referring to the fence that runs parallel with the street, that's a picket fence at 4 feet?
That's correct.
That is already permitted, it's not before us, and we assume he's not asking today to change that in any way, including the height.
He's not asking to change that. So
That's
I'm
correct.
a little confused as to, I mean, he has fencing all around his house.
Right, so the only fencing that doesn't have a permit right now, if you live across the street, so as you're looking at the house, both sides, so on the left, there's a 4-foot solid fence that runs back 74 linear feet.
Correct.
Then it has a small section of 6 feet that's 5 feet, 8 feet long.
4 to 6.
5 feet, 5 linear feet of 6 feet high. On the other side, there are 25 and a half linear feet of 4.5 and some 13 and a half feet, I think it was, of 3.5 feet. He's asking to keep what's there right now and change nothing. Again, the picket fence in the front already has a permit, so we're not addressing that issue. We're just being asked to approve what's there. And as I mentioned earlier, the portion that's near the driveway, that's 3.5 feet high, that runs for, I think you said 13 and a half feet, I can't recall. That portion, the board usually would look at that request and potentially approving it if, depending on our deliberations. That's a fence that we would normally approve if we do on a temporary basis, so that, let's say 10 years from now, the guy sells the house. The next person comes in and goes, you know, I don't want a 3.5-foot fence, I want a 6-foot fence there. So when we make it temporary, the building inspector goes out every 5 years, checks that it complies with the prior grant, and reports back to us, and the applicant comes in to renew it. That's how we make sure it stays at the lower height. We care about that because we want the driver backing in and out of the driveway to be able to see any oncoming vehicular and or pedestrian traffic.
Okay. I was reading this, of course, didn't explain
Yes, it never
any
does.
of that, right, any of that to me. And my husband and I are in this house over 40 years. No one has ever, first of all, the fence that he has in the front, which you're not discussing,
Right, because it already got a permit.
right, was never there. He put that fence up. He also put up bushes. He also put up huge metal fences because he has 2 Rottweilers that they walk on their front lawn. everything that he has in that house, he has no trespassing signs, he has no soliciting signs. I mean, it's like a compound already. We were under the impression that he wanted to change that 4-foot fence to a higher fence because he complained, as you said, about lights coming into his home. When people pull into their driveways like I do, I back into my driveway, and he's directly across the street from a dead end where people tend to back in so that they can pull out in the morning. His complaint is that lights come into his living room window.
That's what curtains are for.
And my impression is that you were asking, or they were asking, to put a 6-foot fence in the front, which is as high as the stop sign that's there, which I had put when my children were little. So I mean, it looks like a compound already.
Where's this metal fencing to which you refer?
They're on the side, on each side of the house.
Behind the front of the house?
Well, I guess if you look at the front of the house, one's to the right and one's to the left. And then he has a fence behind that because of the 2 huge Rottweilers that they have. So my husband and I were under the impression that they wanted to put a 6-foot fence in the front. That I will be fighting for tooth and nail if that's.
No, they're
That
only
is-
asking
that
to
is-
legalize
yeah.
what is there.
That's not the
And again,
case.
the picket is already legalized.
Okay.
One
Okay.
question, when you say 6-foot high metal fence, are you just referring to those gates that go,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got.
is there,
two
okay.
On
Right.
either side. He's got gates on either side. And then behind the gate, he's got another gate.
You mean those see-through gates? They're like
They're metal.
estate fencing.
So those particular gates at the front building line are permitted.
Right, I see
as
they
a
have
matter-
permits.
Right.
Yeah,
If
they
I
have.
did not have the fence issue forward of the dwelling.
Yeah, they have permits. So, just so you know, 6-foot high fencing that does not come forward of your dwelling, that's you still have to get a permit, but you don't have to come here and request it. It's permitted by way of the ordinance, the town ordinance.
Well,
So,
if he wants listen.
he wants to get permits for the 2 on the side forward of the house and to keep them as they are right now. That's what he's here for.
Okay. So in other words, the fences are there, but they're not permitted.
The 2 on the side, correct.
They're not permitted.
Correct.
Okay. Those fences have been there forever. He
Okay.
didn't put those fences in.
That kinda
Those
helps
fences
you.
have been there forever. So whatever he decides that he wants to do with his home is fine with me. Because we live in a great neighborhood, and every house, one house is nicer than the other.
Yeah, that's what
I
Mr.
just-
Mindell was
right.
saying.
I just didn't want to have to look at a 6-foot fence
Yeah.
out my window every day.
You're not going to.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
We're not in favor of.
Any other questions from the
You
board?
can get some curtains. No.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a
Will
motion?
the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar? Each of you who signed in will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail. So when we decide the case, you signed in, correct?
I did.
You'll receive a copy of the decision when it's made in the mail, okay?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions?
Dismissed.
Next, we have cases 66524 through 67124, Oceanside. John Weiss. Variances, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, side yards aggregate, maintained garage addition, 2-story addition, 2nd-story addition, and roof over, all attached dwelling. Variances, lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, maintained roof over attached dwelling. Variances, lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, maintained portico and roof over open porch, both attached dwelling. Variance, lot area occupied, maintains 2nd-story deck with stairs attached to dwelling. Special exception to construct roof over with outdoor kitchen, higher and larger than permitted, exceeding horizontal maximum on both sides, and with lot area occupied variance. Demolish existing roof over. Variance, side yard proposed stairs, maintain pool equipment with less than required side and rear yard setbacks. Variance, side yard installed generator attached to dwelling, also known as 3965 Green Tree Drive.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. William Benesso for Celli, Deegan, Tirana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, here on behalf of the applicant, John Weiss. Mr. Weiss is seated to my right. He is the owner of the subject property at 3965 Green Tree Drive in Oceanside. He and his family reside there. I'd like to first hand up an array of photographs for the board to review, as I think it'd be helpful in connection with how the house has been improved. I would also,
And who took them?
I took them myself.
Oh,
Yes,
does that mean they fairly and accurately represent what they purport to?
precisely.
When did you take those
I
photographs?
took those 2 weeks ago tomorrow. So it was on the, what was last Thursday, the 7th? It was on Halloween,
Okay,
the 31st.
then we'll accept them in evidence.
Significantly improved, right?
Yes. I also have 4 letters of support from all of Mr. Weiss's immediate neighbors, the 2 neighbors on either side of his, and the neighbors directly across the street, indicating that they favor the relief being requested. So as read off by Mr. Owens, this is a residential lot situated in Oceanside on Green Tree Drive. The applicant's property is an waterfront property, like all of the homes on the east side of Green Tree Drive. And if anyone knows this area, they have been substantially developed with very attractive houses and a lot of work done in the yards. The applicant is seeking to maintain and legalize the improvements that have been made to this house, both prior to his purchase of it and since his purchase of it, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But basically, the largest variance being requested is the building lot coverage. It's just about 47% building lot coverage that is being requested, whereas 27.5% is permitted.
How much of that is deck?
Pardon?
How much of that is decking?
Well, that's what I was just going to get into. Much of the overage is comprised of a portico that runs around the front and side, and actually the front side of the dwelling, and then there's a second story deck over a patio coming off the second story that is accessed also via a spiral staircase, and that comprises a good amount of the area. You can see on the architectural plot plan.
Do you know how much? What percentage?
Yeah, it's broken out. Portico is 199 square feet.
What percentage though, Mr. Benesso, do you
I
know?
don't have the percentage of that.
Portico.
We could do
Yeah,
the
they didn't
math.
put it on here.
Couture. We could do the math if he gives us the...
Yeah, we
Mr.
have,
Benesso,
Yeah.
if you could give us the total, we can do the math, believe it or not.
The total of,
6,300 versus,
yeah, the lot is 6,300 square feet.
Right.
Which would permit 1,733 square feet of building coverage at 27.5%. The total that he maintains is 2,920 square feet. That's including the proposed roofed-over outdoor kitchen area, which is to replace the existing tiki bar and kitchen that is, I think, the last photo that you'll see in the photo array. But that would comprise the 46.35%. And frankly, if Mr. Weiss just told me if the board were to permit it, he would just keep the existing tiki bar / outdoor kitchen area that he has present form, that portion of his rear yard is on 2 levels. If you take a look at the rear, the photos of the rear of the property, there's a step down to that area where the tiki bar is, so it's actually quite low. It's not something that is imposing or visible from the neighboring property.
Mr. Benesso,
Yes.
would it be accurate to say that the 5 last, on your grid, right, the 5 things last, roof over 1, roof over 2, second-story deck, portico, and roof over barbecue area, those 5 items, which we can add up, those 5 items are all only roof over. They're not,
Correct.
they have no sides. And would your client be agreeable, if we were inclined to approve it, for a condition that they remain open in that way?
You would, I presume you would.
Okay, so we can add that.
Yeah, there's no intention to build the property. If he were to remove those porticos, it would reduce the overage quite a bit, but it would also make for a much uglier house, I think. As you can see from the photos, it's a very attractive house. All around the house has been improved. The rear yard, the pool that is there now, replaced a pool that was literally sinking into the I guess you'd say the sand. The pool equipment is literally invisible. They have it below ground under a grate. I think it's actually a very nice feature because first of all, it muffles the sound of it. Secondly, it's not visible at all from any neighboring property.
So, Mr. Benesso, just for the record, I think I've properly calculated. So those 4 items, there's a 45 square feet, 19, 190, 199, and 224. If I add those together, it looks like those comprise 10.7% of your lot area proposal. So if we were to take that out, 10.7. So if those were kept open, then we would be down.
You'd be down to about 35% building coverage, 36% building
Of that
coverage.
which is,
Yeah, in an area where you find that to be quite frequent. In fact, 2 houses to the south of ours, they received similar variances for their building lot area, building lot coverage in the rear yard and the
so
like.
this isn't a house that has the kind of, you know how most of the houses on the canals and stuff, they have that decking that is almost ground level, like that short decking. There's none of that. It's the elevated deck, the portico stuff, but he doesn't have a lot of times the whole backyard is a deck.
Why don't you address that?
The backyard, whenever we bought the house, it had decking there, but the deck was sinking. There was no helicos. The previous owner had not put helicos, so the pool that was there and the deck was sinking. We lifted the deck out and we put RCA, and then we put stone pavers on top of the RCA to replace the decking. So there is no decking. The stone pavers are on grade with the neighbor's house.
So the short answer is there is no wood decking. I also have, and Mr. Weiss just provided me this today. This is actually a brochure for the house when he was buying it, and you'll see that most of the exterior improvements, or many of the exterior improvements, were already made when he purchased the property. I was just provided this, so I couldn't copy it.
You
but
tried.
If the board can
You tried.
just take a gander at it, if you will.
We'll take a gander,
that'd be great.
and you'll get an A for effort for trying.
I apologize. My wife yelled at me when I was leaving the house to say, make sure you bring this.
In addition to, so as indicated, we have the roofed over outdoor kitchen area that, again, if the board were to permit it, he would just maintain what he has now as opposed to construct a new one. It's the same size. And
It's the same size, why would we?
because it's a slightly different location.
But if it's the same coverage, why would we,
If it's-
frankly, why
yeah,
would we care?
If you grant the coverage for the proposed, the existing one would be legal in terms of coverage.
Right, but why would we, if we found it acceptable to have the open space, those items at that coverage level, provided they're open, let's say.
Right.
Then why do we care if he changes it to where he'd like to have it?
Only because it's, as it was advertised, it's a proposed versus an existing. He's seeking to build a new, or the application and the notice indicates that he was proposing to build a new one versus maintain.
Right,
So-
but if we're okay with the coverage.
Right.
Why do we care if he keeps that roof over or he takes that one down and
Nobody should care.
changes the style of it?
Nobody should care.
Okay.
Should not be an issue.
I wasn't being sarcastic, I was really
Yeah,
wanting
no,
to.
no, no, I understand. The front yard setback variance, we're talking 19.78 feet versus the average of 22.1 feet. De minimis variance, not noticeable as you look at the dwelling. The aggregate and side yard setbacks, you're basically talking about, again, that portico that runs around the side of the house. And then on the north side of the house, you've got a small roofed over entryway to the basement that I've provided a picture of as well. That reduces the aggregate side yard. Those two reduce the aggregate side yard to 7.2 feet as opposed to the required 15 feet. But again, we have no objection from either of the neighbors on either side of the property.
Without, Mr. Vanessa, without the portico that runs around the house and without that open roofed over, would the house comply with side yard and side yard aggregate?
No, it would not. If you took away it's 3.83 feet, it would provide 7.7 feet on the north side. The portico, there is a bump out on the second floor that would still extend into the side yard. So the portico would be removed, but the bump out would still, it would leave it at 6'10". 6'10", so you'd have 6 foot and
14.
7, so you'd
Not
have
14.
14 as an aggregate.
And that bump out, though, is already permitted, right? I see. Is that the one that is under
No,
231170?
hold on, existing second story addition maintain on, that's an application that we're seeking to maintain. That second story portion.
Which one? I don't see that. All the ones I see are, oh, they are on the 23. I got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, here it is.
yeah.
I see it.
And then you have the generator in the side yard, you have the steps that are also in the side yard, the proposed stairs. But beyond that, again, it's a very attractive property, it's very well maintained, the neighbors have no objections to it, and I think there's appropriate justification for the relief being sought.
Your smallest side yard, is that the 363 on the AC?
It would be the 3.43 on the southerly side yard. That's the smallest side.
Let me find mine here. Oh, I see, that, which is the portico. I mean, the wraparound open portico.
Unless the board has any further questions, that's our direct presentation.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Vanessa, Mr. Vice, you both receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. Thank you, have a nice day.
And you
Thank
can,
you.
you'll return this, so he doesn't get a
Got
lot
it
of
back.
flack.
Thank you.
That's a photocopy. Oh, okay. All right, go, great. Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions?
Thank you.
We have 11 o'clock adjournment. Okay. No, well, she turned around and said that I was nasty, and I'll admit that. No, I'll admit it, because quite frankly, that hearing went on far too long. And if you understand what would have happened, it would have gone on for another hour. And I'll Can we do decisions?
Yes.
Okay. So, case 657 of 2024, Franklin Square, TD Bank, that's a renewal of a grant to maintain a double-faced detached ground sign, corner of Franklin and Corona Avenues, also known as 720 Franklin Avenue. Do I have any comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 657 of 24 Franklin Square, TD Bank, N.A., located at 720 Franklin Avenue, be approved as requested, temporary sign conditions.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Case 658 in Levittown, John and Stephanie Magnanelli. There was an application for an appearance waiver, which we granted. That was renewal grant of a pool with attached wood deck in the front on Whittier and a 6-foot-high PVC fence, larger than pool installation area forward of the dwelling, which may substantially obstruct line of sight. The appearance waiver was granted. Do I have any other questions or comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 658 of 2024 in Levittown, John and Stephanie Mignonelli, as you previously described it, be approved as requested. Same temporary period, 5 years, same conditions.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, next case, 659 of 2024, Levittown, Jenna Ferrante. Side yard aggregate, front yard setback, maintain an addition, a garage conversion. Property address is 152 Periwinkle Road. Any comments or questions? If not, do I have a motion?
I move that we grant case 659, 2024, Jenna Ferretti at 152 Periwinkle Road, as requested.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? Cases 660 and 661 of 2024 Oceanside, Fanny Lau, variance side yard setback, maintain the split AC units attached to dwelling and an accessory structure, which is a shed, less than required side yard setback. Do I have any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move cases 660 and 661 of 2024 with respect to property located at 283 Evans Avenue on Oceanside, be granted as requested.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Case 662 of 24, West Hempstead, Sheena Bruno Grandison, maintaining the fence that varies in heights from 3.5 to 6 feet forward of the dwelling, which may substantially obstruct line of sight, which it really doesn't. That is 563 Maple Street. Do I have any comments from the board? If not, do I have a
I
motion?
would just remark that it should be temporary. That ones that are before should be made temporary so they can be maintained at that height. We don't have any issue with the next owner
Okay.
raising them
All
up.
right, so, is it
I make a motion for case 662 of 24 in West Hempstead, located at 563 Maple Street, to be approved as requested, temporary.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
That's
Yes.
conditions. All right. Last case. Last cases. And they are rather busy. I will not read all of them. Cases 665 of 2024 through 671 of 2024. Property address is 3965 Green Tree Drive in Oceanside. Do I have any comments other than?
Yes, I
Victoria?
would, I do.
Yes.
I'm okay with the case, provided I'd like the last 5 items that are on the plot plan that contribute to the lot area occupied to be conditioned that they all 5 remain open, go forward. But other than that, if no one else has any comments,
Second.
then I'll make a motion that cases 665 of 2024 through 671 of 2024 on Oceanside, John Weiss. Property is located at 3965 Green Tree Drive. As like you, Chairman, I'm not going to go through each of them. The property is beautifully maintained, and I move that we grant the requested relief with the conditions I previously stated.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That concludes the morning calendar. So, it's 10 o'clock. We have to wait another hour, so let's do,
We have 20 minutes, we have about 20 minutes.
what's wrong?
Yeah, so we have about 20 minutes.
4 o'clock is wrong? Oh, okay. Somebody should change that. In any event, all right, let's do 20 minutes worth of decisions on the reserve calendar. Anything on page 1? Curia?
Yes, so cases 2/12/24 and 2/13/24.
Mm-hmm.
They, as we discussed, they're willing to move the lot lines. They didn't want to resubmit any documentation just yet for the sole purpose that they're willing to divvy the lines where you wouldn't need side yard relief if the board would prefer that. Because basically, if they do the 45 and the 55, this was, you guys will remember, it's page 1, cases
12 and 13.
So these were the cases where they initially proposed a split of 40 and 60, and the board asked for them to change the lot lines to a 45 and 55. And they did so. Doing so, though, is going to potentially trigger a lot area. They could cut one of the lots ever so slightly. Lot area or lot area? I'm sorry, side yard. And it would be the side yard between them. That would be affected. So a 45 and a 55 would trigger a lot area. But again, it would be the side yard. Side yard, I'm sorry. So it would trigger another variance. Again, the only properties that would be affected are the two in front of us. So I personally don't believe there would be any notice issues. And again, they wanted the board to be on board with, the fact that another variance would be triggered.
I'm okay with it because of the fact that
It's between
de
them.
minimis and it affects only the subject properties and the overall proposal benefits more the neighborhood.
So what do they have to do now?
So basically, again, they didn't want to submit another
No,
composite.
no
with-
sense doing the expense.
Exactly, so what we're going to do, I actually did ask the plans examiner to review what was initially proposed, and, what I told the attorney was that until the plans examiner can review and confirm exactly what's necessary, you're not getting a decision if you choose not to submit the new plot plan. He was okay with it, and I told him that you're not getting a decision until 11/20 at the earliest, because again, we want to
Okay.
confirm with the building department what relief you
That's the
properly
only,
need.
right,
So-
but if that's the only new one, then it's worth the, you can rest assured that we're not gonna.
I'm no plans examiner, but my review of the drawings, there's gonna be a side yard that's triggered. But again, the plans are gonna be reviewed with the plans examiner before the board.
Okay.
We have it, but again, the issue was, they weren't 100% sure if the board wanted them to change the lot lines a bit to not trigger any variance. So.
All right, so bottom line is we're going to hold it.
Exactly, but
So,
we will be having I believe this case will be ripe for a decision for next year,
okay.
all right?
Anything else on that page?
Yes, so cases 300 to 301, we did have a meeting with OPWDD about it, and I shot them an email yesterday, and I have yet to have a meeting for them.
All right.
Yes.
In what
What's
respect?
OPWD?
That's the housing.
Okay. Wait, are they the state agency?
State,
that
yeah.
want
Mhm.
a grant to satisfy? And he seems, if I understand you correctly, the gentleman understands the situation and is sympathetic to the goal here, but that. What now? Oh, they want that, okay, when you say their concern is being open anyway, I understand.
But this is the issue too, even if the board, if the board, well, and again, we've discussed, I believe, at nauseam.
Right,
what-
no
what the
sense doing
board-
that again.
Yeah, but even if the board were granted two-family, if they had sustained their burden for a use variance, it's a condition that it be owner occupied. Apparently that
Is
is
it-
potentially
okay.
problematic with the state.
Why? Why?
Because it's not open to anyone from the public.
But why is that required?
That's their requirement, but that's their requirement.
You know?
Gregorio? Yeah.
Can I go back? So what is the statute that they're interpreting this way?
It's their regulations.
You know what, I mean, just remind me that in order to receive
It's, so
financial aid of this type,
there were two conditions that were potentially problematic. One of them was that it be a separate legal dwelling unit, which I definitely.
for the indigent, for the
Individual.
Yeah.
That is.
So he needs a separate, okay,
And as determined by the local, the locale. So in our decision, if you recall, we enumerated that the board considers this a separate legal dwelling unit, blah, 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 blah.
okay, here's the
Right?
condition.
The next condition is that it be open to any member of the public.
Wait,
What do you mean by that?
It's like an open rental.
wait, so in order to give him funding due to his situation, he has to have a separate legal dwelling unit, get it? But it also has to be one that's open to anyone. Oh, so they must be trying to get around these homes where there's like a multi-people home. Do you understand what I'm saying? That you can only apply for if you are, whatever your predicament is. Yeah, you know, that, like, I can't go apply to live in a group home if I don't have a diagnosis of certain either physical or mental.
Okay, maybe, again, I don't know why,
I know, I just figured if they could figure out
that
why,
makes sense.
we might be able to address it.
But again, the issue is that even,
Well, what if his dwelling unit, I mean, if there's a two-family that's owner occupied, only one unit has to be owner occupied.
correct, but still, it's not open to,
The other unit is,
the other unit is, but.
he can live in that unit.
Therein lies the problem.
But if we made,
What,
Well, correct.
no, they want it
They
open.
want it open to anybody.
what is the condition of the young person?
He is autistic.
Severely
Well,
autistic.
apparently he is, he's like able to, he's integrated in his community
So,
and all that.
so let me ask a question. What happens when mom and dad are not
That's
here
what we're
anymore?
trying to
No,
do.
no, no. But what happens?
So what we're assuming is that
Mhm.
Abe lives with
In the other unit.
either the other unit or
Who
with.
lives, an aide? Okay.
Either an aide.
How, so the question then becomes, well, I mean, it's gotta be owner occupied, correct?
Well, if a two-family, which again, they did not sustain their burden for a two-family, but yes,
Right.
any, if the board were to grant a two-family, a condition is that it's owner occupied.
So what if the, maybe this will take an evaluation. Why don't you give the kid 1% give him 1% of ownership? Now it's owner occupied.
But the state's saying they won't even fund it if it's an owner occupied. I agree with
If
you.
the state says they won't fund it if it's owner occupied?
Because then it's a condition that so-and-so has to live through, so it's not open. Yeah. An answer.
But
But-
Sean, I think if we make it, if we have a two-family that's owner occupied, only one dwelling is owner occupied.
Right.
The other dwelling, that's what I'm saying, is open to the public.
That's how the decision's written.
Okay, but so why don't we do this? I don't, this is stupid
What,
that it's
what,
taking
wait,
this much time.
what am I missing here? What if you give the kid, he's now becomes an owner of 1%. And when mom and dad die, that one apartment is owner occupied.
And the other one is open to anyone.
And we don't, and because, and is that what the state wants us to verbalize?
We're not 100% sure because we're not getting an answer. They basically said, oh, well, this is potentially problematic. That's basically the feedback that we got.
Well,
After spending months on scheduling an appointment, folks that know a lot more about this stuff than us.
Yeah.
That's what
I think
So,
we just
so
decide-
can we
I
ask
think
them
we
for an
discuss.
explanation as to why it's potentially
They say-
problematic?
they-
Or they're not gonna do that?
I emailed them yesterday, and the email response that I got back today was essentially, well, you know, I have to get a bunch of people together to discuss it. So we're,
I
And,
think we
and
just-
there's no guardian appointed for the kid, right?
as far as I know, no,
For
but
the, I call him
I'm
the kid,
not
I'm
sure.
sorry.
Why don't we just craft a grant that we find acceptable?
well, there's a little bit of follow-up as well. So we visited the applicant and reviewed all of this. So I got an email while I was out where she's now stating that she requests a two-family with no conditions.
Well, that's not gonna work.
But I'm just,
She can request all
because
she
I'm
likes.
just letting you know,
Okay.
so
So-
that was
you know.
where, that's everything that's
And,
going
and
in.
unfortunately, intransigence does not help the situation. So maybe a well-placed phone call, delicately telling her that that's not gonna help her. Oh, no. Of course not. What do I know?
Yeah, but Joe's right, maybe that's.
And you're punting?
But I'm, you know, I don't know, I was, the last email that we received from her, I thought, it was quite a request. She is an attorney as well,
Who is?
the applicant.
Oh,
So I thought that was quite a heavy request from her. And trust, yeah, that's why, but I'm not. You know, again, it's-
Maybe we just, this is a decision saying the burden of proof was not
It wasn't.
met for a two-family residence, and leave it at that. She can come back for a request a rehearing if she wants to request something different, because we're spending a lot of time on this, trying to do the
Okay.
right thing, and we're not getting anything from the state
And now
that
we're
allows
getting-
us to
and-
try and craft
and
something
then we're
to
getting-
meet her needs.
then,
Okay, Mr. Chairman, with regard to case 479 of 2024, the case is Elmont 299 Hempstead LLC doing business as Popeyes. I move that the board adopt a negative declaration as to the CEQA determination. I further, Mr. Chairman, move that the board adopt the draft decision granting the request with specific conditions prepared by counsel to the board.
It was not, as far as I know, they did not.
Aye.
Okay, sure. Oh, wait.
Mr. Regano votes. Oh, then it does matter if they...
Well,
Okay, but assuming it's local, then we're okay.
you did. Okay.
So we all can participate.
All right, good.
11 o'clock.
Okay, next we have case 57824, Belmore, Tommaso and Sandra Genovese. Renewal of grant to maintain two-family dwelling, also known as 2100 Howe Street.
Just give us your name and address, please. Yeah, as loudly as you can so she can take it down.
Yes, 20 Tommaso Genovese, 2100 Owl Street, Belmore, New York, 11710.
Good morning. So this is an application to renew a grant to maintain a two-family dwelling, and as you just testified, you do live there.
Yes.
The building department inspected the premises on both May 21st, 2024, and July 12th of 2024, and found that all conditions previously imposed by this board continue to be complied with. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Tommaso? No. Okay. Do I have any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just move that the hearing be closed. The matter will be placed on the decision calendar. We'll do our deliberations, and when we make a decision, you'll receive a copy of that decision in the mail.
Thank you for coming.
Then you have to continue to live there, right? You have a condition, okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and opposed? You're done. Finito. Prego. That's the extent of my Italian. Finito. Finite. That should be unfinished. There you go. Okay. All right, let's call case 578 of 2024.
Property to 2100 Howell Street in Belmore be granted as requested.
Same
With all-
conditions?
Yes, with all two-family conditions.
Okay. Second, all in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? Let's go back to other decisions. Reserve calendar, once again. Wait. Hold on a second. Can I double back on 572 and 573? Refresh my recollection, was there any, I don't believe there were any objections to that, and I did inspect the home. That's on reserve. It's 572 and 573. I don't believe there were any
I do not believe there was any,
opposition.
there was no opposition.
Okay. I did inspect the home. Oh, yeah, what was the deal with the height? How,
Was it 9 inches?
and what was, refresh my recollection, what was the excuse?
So my understanding is that this case was, previously, well, the property was previously in front of us, it was a subdivision.
Right.
So one of the new dwellings that was constructed was built apparently.
That's the one that they look identical, but one's higher.
Who built that? You want to hold that until this afternoon? I'd like to know who built that. I mean, I got to tell you,
at 649 of 2024 Alexandra, yada, yada, yada. His mother-daughter residence be granted with the amended site plan that's requested by the board, with the usual mother-daughter conditions.
Second. Aye.
The grant for two-family dwelling was temporary, and it expired in 1988, shown in the title report that was provided to the purchaser's lawyer at the time.
Well, do they, yes, but do they qualify now for another daughter?
No.
So it's a two-family. This was the one that you recall, they bought the property, I believe, a couple years ago,
Oh, this is, yeah.
and they wanted the sister to live there. They would not accept an owner-occupied.
As a result,
This is 653?
yep,
They said no to accepting the owner-occupied condition.
Correct, they wanted the sister to live there.
That's the one they came up with the sister after.
yeah,
On a lot of
I
questions.
remember that, yep. Can we have a motion on this case, because I think it's right? I mean, you're gonna set a precedent,
Crumping around with that.
you know.
I move that case 653 of 2024, Rodriguez as a use variance to maintain a two-family dwelling at 46 Cottage Place in Roosevelt be denied. They've never followed the conditions that were imposed at the time of the grant, and therefore it's expired, and therefore it's almost, expired 40 years, and the case should be denied.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
I am familiar with respect to 653, 2024. I looked at the live stream and read all the materials, and I am familiar with the case.
Okay. Second. We already did that. Yeah, second, and, okay. playroom. The playroom.
The nice house. Yeah. Then we make the application for modification.
Upstairs. I'm okay with that.
The stairs are already there.
And they're in the breeze room. You can be okay with it.
I'm just saying, we all could say,
All right, does somebody want to make a motion?
I need a case number.
Go
Anyone
ahead.
else care?
Take a peek.
Yeah, that's fine, that's what I'm saying, I'm okay with, what is it, what are the Right, can you guys all, state your position?
So I think we're down to, we granted everything else. We didn't grant the playroom, right?
We denied the plan.
What about heat?
We just said, part of the condition is that they were only allowed to have electric, but now because they are storing, classic cars, they want to be able to have the opportunity to have climate. So they are asking us to amend the condition to permit heating.
And then they want us to amend the condition with the pull-down staircase.
Correct.
They
So
already have.
essentially,
So the two amendments on this request are the heat and
climate
Existing.
and apparently, yes. So I think the point of that is that you don't, the only access is not through the access to
And the neighbor next door,
I don't really
the
care about
neighbor
that.
right next door, most affected, Mike Moroznik, is he's in favor of that.
Would have been nice if they had provided us with some photographs. This is the one
There were
case.
photographs on it.
Were there?
Yeah, I remember.
it
'cause I
showed
saw
that?
them,